You've probably seen the claim floating around online. You can land a high-paying job managing data centers without spending a single dime on training. The primary engine behind this promise is Data Center University, or DCU, a platform offering comprehensive, zero-cost foundational courses. Let's look at this chart to see how the industry usually works. You're trying to break into a field heavily gated by expensive credentials. Historically, traditional credentials like a CCNA sit right up here in the top right. You pay thousands in exam fees, and in return, you get high market impact. DCU pulls the financial cost down to zero. The practical question is how far this point actually travels along the market impact axis. Before you spend weeks chasing free certificates, we need to strip away the hype. You have to know exactly what this curriculum qualifies you for and what it doesn't. Let's start with the scope. Looking at this cutaway of a modern facility, DCU focuses on the physical infrastructure, cooling towers, power substations, and the layout. This is a major departure from standard IT training. DCU teaches you how to keep the environment alive, not how to configure the software or route the data flowing inside the servers. To get through the core curriculum, you'll need to dedicate about 10 to 20 hours of self-paced study. The material is dense. You'll run into highly specific mechanical and electrical engineering terminology that general IT professionals rarely use. Its real utility is acting as a bridge. It gives IT operators the vocabulary they need to communicate effectively with facility engineers. The curriculum is built on a few main pillars, starting with power infrastructure. This matrix compares our options. The power module teaches the operational logic behind uninterruptible power supplies and generator redundancy. Here's the first trade-off. DCU gives you the facility vocabulary to pass technical interviews. Traditional vendor certs, meanwhile, focus heavily on network execution. Next up is the cooling systems pillar. You learn the mechanics of airflow dynamics and how to calculate energy efficiency metrics. The trade-off is DCU is purely theoretical. You won't get the physical hardware configuration practice standard in paid vendor labs. These modules ensure you won't sound lost when talking to a facility manager, but they absolutely will not teach you how to turn a wrench on a C-rack unit or configure a network switch. The final and most complex pillar is data center architecture. This module gives you a high-level comprehension of managing the actual data center floor, often called white space, along with disaster recovery planning. You'll have to internalize complex theories around long-term capacity planning and how to scale a facility without bringing down the current servers. Learning this theory for free saves you thousands of dollars in tuition fees. But theory alone does not build a functional infrastructure. To actually touch, install, and configure the routing hardware that fills that space, you will eventually have to pay for secondary, hands-on training. Think of the architecture modules as blueprints rather than step-by-step building instructions. They prepare your mind, but execution requires paid follow-up. Once you finish the learning path, you have the option to take a final certification exam. Passing gives you a digital badge you can pin to your resume or LinkedIn profile. But look closely at this third row to see how employers actually treat this specific credential compared to standard industry certifications. Automated HR screening software is hard-coded to look for established acronyms like CompTIA or Cisco. They rarely recognize proprietary, vendor-neutral badges. Validating your knowledge for free feels great, but relying on an unestablished badge to bypass an HR algorithm is a strategic error. The certificate is a personal milestone. Employers are looking for the technical fluency you've built, which carries more weight than the digital file itself. So how do you apply these trade-offs to your specific situation? Let's start with the budget-conscious beginner. This flowchart starts with your current IT experience. If you are an absolute beginner, your path looks like this. You need to start with DCU fundamentals before you touch any paid networking courses, like CompTIA Net Plus or the CCNA. You have to accept delaying the hireable certification by a few weeks. That time is spent strictly building your infrastructural baseline. Think of that delay as an insurance policy. Spending 20 hours on DCU prevents you from failing a $300 Cisco exam simply because you didn't understand the physical environment those routers live in. Now, let's look at the second audience segment, the transitioning IT professional. If you already have industry experience, skip the basics entirely. Move straight into the advanced DCU planning and design modules. Use that focused study path as direct preparation for advanced, high-level vendor exams. Skipping the basics saves you valuable time, but you do run the risk of missing nuanced facility operations data that sometimes appears on those upper-level tests. The data reveals a specific utility. DCU has significant impact as a preparatory primer, but remains weak as a standalone credential. DCU serves as a cost-effective preamble. It builds the prerequisite knowledge that ensures your future investment in paid certifications leads to a passing grade.